Hello, Coffee Talk Jazz Radio. Welcome to the room. Hey, Latarsa. Try with y'all. Okay, varying. Okay, y'all popped in here real fast. So let me turn this around. Melody. Hey, Melody. Ooh, my hair all over my head, y'all. It's windy up here in the windy city. Hello, Delvin. Nice to see you here. How are you, Melody? Welcome to Periscope. Welcome to the room. Hey, Latersa. Yes, I am your chief HR brain variant. I'm good. I'm up here in the windy city. Hello, Delvin. How are you? Good to see you here. Yes, hashtag Team HR. Exactly. I just got to the windy city, Chicago. I hadn't been up here in years. So I just got to the hotel probably about 30 minutes ago. And I said, well, I am committed to doing my daily scopes, but I was in travel time, so I couldn't do it on the plane. So I thought I'll still hop on and do it before I go out to dinner in a few hours. How about that? One of our CSSers is coming to pick me up, Sharita Bimbo. So is it Bimbo? I just say Sharita. I think I always mess up her last name. The contrast of that black and white with that olive is cute. Oh, thank you. Girl, it was windy when I got outside at the airport in Chicago. I pulled it right out of my suitcase. Right out of my suitcase. So welcome to the room, everybody. Thanks for all the beautiful hearts. And I'm going to get straight to it. This is day 2. And I actually should have put that in my title, too. This is day 2 of my own personal challenge for May to try to do a Periscope every day from an HR perspective, if you will. An HR quick tip for entrepreneurs, small business owners, and enterprises as well. So my name is Delmar Johnson, president of Delmar Johnson Enterprise, and I am your chief HR brain with HR Brain for Hire. So yesterday, I kind of talked about it, and I'm trying to adjust this thing so it won't look so low, but yesterday was my first day for my 30-day or 31-day May challenge to talk about HR from the HR perspective and give you some HR quick tips, basically on questions that was actually been submitted to me in the last few weeks. And I even have some that I've had for the last few months, but I didn't necessarily do a challenge around it. So I wanted to just pick a question off that list as each day comes by and talk about it. Yesterday, I did have someone that was on my scope that talked about interns, and I talk about interns quite a bit. So some of you guys who are my regulars have heard me talk about it. But the reason why I talk about it so much, because startups ask me about it all the time. So I continue to talk about it because there's always maybe some new people that come onto the Periscope that are startups or just getting to the point I wanted to hire some people and they want to know a few things about it. So I titled this one, Vet an Intern Like an Employee, but Don't Treat Him Like One. Okay, so what I mean by that, Kiana Shaw, awesome entrepreneur out of Los Angeles, California. She actually that was one of her questions that she asked me on the list of running questions that I'm keeping of people who send me their questions. She said, "How do you vet an intern?" Well, you really vet an intern, okay? Put them through the process of hiring an intern. Very similar to how you would do an employee. So what do I mean by that? And you guys know I always have notes. Okay. So you want to vet an intern similar to an employee by way of, first of all, identifying what it is that you're going to want that person to do. Okay, so you want to make, I have all these wonderful electronics and all this kind of stuff, but I'm a pen and paper kind of gal. Okay, I'm still a pen and paper kind of HR gal. So if you take out a pen and your legal pad and kind of identify what it is that you want them to do and do it from a project standpoint, not just from like a running errands or, picking up this or picking up that, because they shouldn't be treated as gophers, right? They should be treated as interns. And particularly most people get their interns from people who are still in college, right? Whether still in college as an upperclassman or as a graduate student. So you're still going to vet them very similar to how you do an employee. So because before you hire an employee, you had to define what the job is going to be, right? And what that person is going to be doing. So you would do that the same way with an intern. Once you've identified what it is that you're going to need and what kind of projects that you want them to work on, then you begin to identify what type of candidate that you want. All right. Do you want a candidate that's going to handle your email management? Do you want a candidate that's going to handle your social media platforms? Do you need a candidate that's going to make telephone calls for you? If there's a project around those telephone calls to particular customers or sponsors or vendors or something, maybe you're putting on an event. So they're helping you as an event planner / an intern event planner. OK, because there is a hospitality major at colleges. Right. So you want to identify what kind of candidate that you want. Of course, you want to build a relationship with the college placement centers at the universities and colleges that are in your area. So if you're still here, guys, give me some hearts so I know that you're here. But if the replayers come on, please give me some hearts and hopefully share with your audience if you find this valuable to you, or if you know a startup yourself that needs this type of information on how to vet an intern. So first, you've identified, again, go back, you've identified what it is that you need as well as projects and assignments are concerned. You identify, and then after you've identified and gotten clear about that, then you begin to identify what kind of candidate, what kind of intern candidate, thanks for scribing, what kind of intern candidate that you desire. Okay, so you want to reach out to the college placement centers. Hey, Fröken Gonzalez, how are you? I believe that is Darlene. I try to put the names with the tags now. So you identify, the second one is you identify the candidate that you want. You build relationships with college placement centers. You may get referrals from your professional colleagues. Okay. Depending on the position, you'll use social media. Social media, we saw the power of that with a friend of mine that dealt with Delta Airlines yesterday. So there's power in social media, whether that's through Facebook, Twitter, of course, LinkedIn, which is one of the number one places that corporate recruiters go to seek out potential candidates when they're seeking for employees, right? And probably even seeking for interns if interns have their profiles on LinkedIn. All right. Number 3, then you begin to screen the applicants. What I mean by screen, once you've put it out there, what you're looking for, and you've put the job and you put an intern job out there, you're going to begin to screen them. Screening them meaning just like you pre-screen employees. Thanks for the hearts, guys. You screen an intern. So you let them know what it is that you want them to submit. Maybe you want a sample of maybe a previous intern work that they've done before. Maybe you want a sample of how they write from a, communications class they may have had in their curriculum. So you want to ask them for a sample of their work if they have, if they've had an intern before, or if they have some particular work from their class assignments that they can send to you, because you want to know how they write as well. Because typically, if most people hire interns for social media management, email marketing, making telephone calls, working on an event with them. So there's a lot of communications that have to happen. So you need to understand that they know how to communicate not only verbally, but by written word, right? How to write a letter. There's art in writing a letter. OK, some people know how to do it well. Some people are still learning, which is just fine. So you want to adhere to whatever kind of minimum job qualifications that you have established for that particular internship job. OK. I know I'm going kind of fast. Let me slow down. I always talk fast when I'm talking about things that I like, things that I enjoy. Screening to evaluate their skills beforehand. Exactly. Screening to evaluate their skills beforehand. I know another one of our CSSs. When I say that, I'm talking about Coach Speak and Serve, and it's hosted by April Franks Hunt of Women Recharged. One of our CSSers, Ebony Combs, is actually doing interviews for interns right now, and I just kind of tagged her on her page last night of just, hey, go, good going, Ebony, in doing your interns. And I just gave her a little tidbit, which I already knew she knew what to do, but I gave it anyway by making sure that you pre-screen them and give them like a short assignment when you begin to bring them on, so you can see how they execute what it is that you give them. Okay, makes sense? Thanks for the hearts, guys. Okay, something else you want to do in this screening, just as you would do in employees, you want to verify the facts that they're an actual college student. Yeah, that they're actually a college student, or at least a recent graduate. Of course, that could be a student ID. Of course, if you actually want to take it as far as doing a background check, because, hey, college students are college students, but, some college students may have had some issues. You just never know. But you want to check if they have a college ID, bad or recent, or recently grad college ID. You want to maybe do a background check, verify that they're actually a college student. Exactly, because, people do some crazy things. Even when you're young and dumb, you do some crazy things. But if they're a legit college student, that's why I say it's so important to connect yourself with the College Placement Center, because they have their hand on the pulse of the campus, right? They have their hands on the pulse of the students who are there and who have signed up to be considered for internships as those job ads come through on the College Placement job sites, right? A job site, right? So they actually have their hands on the pulse of it. I recently hired 2 interns for a project, interviewed them just like employees. Exactly. You're going to vet them like employees. That's why my title was vet them like an employee, but don't necessarily treat them like an employee, because an employee is there long term, right? Internships are usually a time frame. Usually people are hiring anywhere from 3 months to 6 months, 9 months, or 12 months, depending on how long the project is that you're working for a client, and you're delegating certain things out to that intern. So there needs to be a specific start date and a specific end date to that internship. You don't want to just drag them on as though they're an employee. You should not treat them as a regular employee. However, they should abide by your standards and expectations that you've set for your company. Great advice. They did have to email me an assignment by a certain day after the interview. Exactly. After an interview. So it's a screening process, but you treat them a little bit differently than an employee, because an employee is typically long term. Whereas, yes, that's a great distinction. Thanks, Barry. So there's a specific start date and a specific end date for an intern. And in that time frame that you work in them, it should be on specific projects. One thing that a college student can do is what's called a learning contract. You don't necessarily have the responsibility for the learning contract, but you do have to provide them with certain aspects of what the job assignment is going to be, what the projects are going to be. And that college student would take it then to their college placement center so they can craft what their contract should look like, because there may be opportunities for them to get college credit. So it's called an intern learning contract. The responsibility lies on the intern to make sure it gets completed, but you have to provide them with certain information if there's an opportunity for them to get college credit, because a lot of times that's what internships are about, right? Learning and getting credit if possible. Okay. And then after you verified some facts, right? After the background check, maybe if you're doing that, if you're doing reference checks and everything of previous employment or previous internships, or even professors, okay, you can do that as well. Then you want to move forward with actually bringing them on, right? Choosing the best candidate. I would say one thing I want to back up, something I would suggest that you do when you begin to collect resumes and information from them, set up a simple Gmail account outside of your business account. Now, your business name, like mine is hrbrainforhire@gmail.com. I use that Gmail all the time for easy access for people to send me their resumes or send me their information that I'm asking them to send, so I can vet them and everything. And a lot of times I'm vetting for clients. Okay, I vet for myself too, but I'm vetting for clients a lot of time. Some campuses have offices set up for you to conduct interviews. Exactly. That's another place to have interviews, so they can have a one-on-one interaction with you. So a lot of times, of course, there's such thing as virtual interns. So the intern doesn't necessarily have to be where you are. But if you're starting out and you wanting that person to maybe come to your office, if you have a brick and mortar, or you want to have a little bit more access to them, then you would typically go to a college or university in your local area, and they always have interview rooms and stuff, usually at large enough colleges and universities. So great point. Thanks for pointing that out. So I went through that kind of fast, so I'm just going to kind of review that real quick. In vetting, first of all, you define what you need, right? Define what kind of projects and assignments that you want them on. That's number one. Number two was identify the candidate. So you want to get a relationship with the colleges and universities around you and their college placement offices. All right. You may even have referrals from your professional colleagues who have had interns before. A lot of times that's where people start at too, in addition to college placement offices. You want to screen the applicant, okay? So you want to have like a pre-assignment for them, so you know how they execute their work, how quick they are, how they follow up, how they communicate, all right? You want to do an interview, obviously an interview with them, have appropriate legal interview questions. Let me put that caveat in there. Appropriate legal interview questions you want to ask them. And most of the times, those questions are going to be related to what they've studied in school, what kind of previous internships they've had, maybe what kind of outside of college type of employment that they've had, if it's just been a regular job. Okay, so you want to ask them questions along the lines that are relevant to what it is that you're wanting to bring them on for. All right, verify the facts and make sure they're in college. Okay, make sure they're a college student. Appropriate legal questions. Yes, I think a lot of people get in trouble by asking those that are not so legal. Okay, so you want to stay in compliance with the legalities. So verify the facts. You want to verify that they're college students. Again, you can contact the college and they have, again, obviously contact and access to the college students. So it's kind of easy to find that out. You may want to do a background check and then go through the pre-screen interviews and then select the right candidate for yourself. I hope that made sense. Anybody have any questions? Thanks for the pink hearts. That's on brand for me. Pink is one of my brand colors. Anybody have any questions? I thank for you guys hanging out with me. I told you I was committed to doing these every day. It does. Thanks, Varian. Varian Brandon, you guys go follow her. She's an awesome leadership strategist. It give great insights and posts every day too. So I love them. I love it. Anybody have any questions before we get off? Again, today was about vetting an intern like an employee, but don't treat them like one. But make sure they do follow your standards and expectations for your business, though. Okay? Do you screen for any type of businesses? Yeah, actually, I can screen for any type of businesses. Typically, the businesses that on a regular basis, I should say, are small businesses, micro businesses, businesses that are really can fall in any category, really. I've worked with quite a few. I've worked with small businesses. I've worked with large businesses. So it really doesn't necessarily matter what business is in. I've done it for healthcare. I've done it for, I've done it for logistics and manufacturing, just to give you an example. Anybody else have any questions? Well, you guys can reach out to me and connect with me, obviously, on Facebook and Twitter at HR Brain for Hire. I know an entrepreneur, small business around 300,000 revenue mark that has had issues hiring. Oh, okay. So maybe we can talk offline about what kind of issues they may have been having. Maybe a referral for you. Okay, just let me know, Barry. You know how to get in touch with me. Yes. And you know what? Let me say this about hiring. I'm glad you brought that up, Varian. Let me say this about hiring. People think that they always get the perfect person the first go round. Can I just tell you from 20 years of HR experience, that is unrealistic. What do you think about compensation? Oh, come back and ask that question. I didn't see it. It was something about compensation. I used to be a compensation analyst too. But on hiring takes patience. If you've never hired before, or even if you have hired before, somebody maybe can raise their hands if they hired before, and it took patience to get the exact, to get the most reliable people and and the best candidate. It takes patience. It takes patience to hire the right person, to get to the right person, because sometimes, you have a rotten egg in there every now and again. Can you come back and ask that question about compensation? I don't know who it was. I don't know if it was Varian or someone else. It was something about compensation. What do I think about compensation? But I didn't see the second part of it. As far as compensation is concerned, I will tell you this, that it's important to, if you're going, and interns can be paid or unpaid, right? Be very conscious of unpaid. Because I said yesterday that free labor is relative. When it comes to interns, they can be unpaid and they can legally be unpaid, but I will encourage you and implore you to have some kind of incentives in place for the ones that are considered unpaid. Okay. When interns are paid, you have a better bunch to choose from. A lot of times, a better pool to choose from. You have interns that are more enthusiastic because not only are they working toward maybe educational credits or experience, but they have a little money in their pocket. I don't know about you, but I was always broke in college. But if I had $1, I was rich. Okay, somebody asked a question about compensation. Maybe that's what they was asking. So you want to be careful about and follow the rules of unpaid. Somebody just tried to inbox me. Okay, So thanks for the pink hearts, guys, and make sure that you share it. Nope, I don't want to do that. My Periscope is trying to cut me out. I'm not going to allow it to do that. Okay. So yes, you can have unpaid interns, but there are 6 particular rules that the IRS wants you to follow. One of the biggest things is it's kind of strange too. It almost impede your company or you being able to really take advantage of them. But as long as you have it set up properly from an educational standpoint, you'll be all right. All right. What do you think about compensation for interns have to word it in a certain way on agreement? Exactly. And what type of agreement are you talking about? Like on what kind of agreement? I know there's independent contract agreement, but that's not an agreement an intern should be signing. They can sign, like, again, the learning contract, and then they can also sign a non-disclosure agreement, as I will suggest for any interns that you may be hiring or any contractors that you bring on, just as a precaution to guard your confidential things that they have access to when they're working for you or working on an assignment for you. But the compensation should be no less than the minimum wage of the state in which you live. I know the federal minimum wage is $7.25, but the states actually have can set their own minimum wage. Most people follow at least the federal minimum wage, but of course, in some states are even higher than that. I think California is like $10 or $12, $15 an hour now. Paying interns, you have to word it in a certain way on documents. Yes. Exactly. You have to word it in a certain way on documents. You're exactly right. You're exactly right. I actually created a do-it-yourself ebook called Your Complete Guide to Intern Your Way to Profits. And you can find that on my site at hrbrainforhire.com. Just click on store. It's like a $39 download and really takes you through the complete process of setting up your own intern program. Because a lot of people are do-it-yourself. So I collected information and documents and everything that you need for that. Again, you can contact me. Call it a stipend. Exactly. That's the word. That's the word. You call it a stipend. That is the language for interns. Thank you for that. Who are you? Have I seen you before? You're getting some great information. I love it. I love it when people are engaged and offer their expertise here as well. I love it. I love it. But yes, stipend is the language for interns. Okay, guys, I think I'm going to wrap this HR quick tip. I think this is another 30-minute quick tip. Thank you, Barry. I love how passionate you are about the HR. I know I get all hyped, Barry, and then I start talking too fast. Then I have to slow myself down. But I'm excited about it because, micro business owners, small business entrepreneurs, the goal is to grow, right? And one of the pieces that you need to grow is to really have a foundation. And part of that foundation is having access to an HR resource. It really is. If you want to begin to hire people, whether that's intern, contractors, and employees, you need support. You need support in that. And most business owners don't want to have anything to do with human resources. Hence the very reason why I started HR Brain for Hire a few years ago and just trying to acclimate or trying to infuse my 20 years of HR experience for that so it can take some of the stress off of you. That's exactly why I created HR Brain for Hire for the small business and micro business owners. Okay. So again, my name is Delmar Johnson. I am your chief HR Brain with HR Brain for Hire. You can check me out on Twitter, Periscope, obviously, Facebook at HR Brain for Hire. The 4 is spelled out, FOR, not the number 4. HRBrainforHire.com is where you can check me out on my website. There's some great goodies there for you. Again, I have a do-it-yourself ebook download for only $39 there in my store. And I also have an audio masterclass called Hire Right, which is about helping you find reliable people, increase your profits, and create simplified systems. So check me out. I hope you connect with me there. If you want to send me a private inbox, you can do that as well, just to let me know who you are. You can also, again, on my site, that's a cool little download too I got for you guys. You just sign up and connect with me and click on free white paper. And that is a white paper that I did for you on the do's and don'ts of hiring. You know, what is it that you should do, begin to do, and what is it that you should not be doing should not be doing, so you can start out on the right foot. Again, thank you for joining me. Thank you for sharing replays. Make sure you share with your audience and give me some hearts as well. And I'll see you tomorrow on day 3 of my 31-day challenge of talking about HR quick tips for startups, small businesses, and enterprises. Have a great day, y'all. Bye-bye.